Welcome to Daily News Simplified, an answer to what, why, and how of newspaper reading. Today, we are going to discuss the New Delhi edition of the Hindu newspaper dated 31st October 2018. The news to be discussed has been presented on the screen and timestamping for the same has been provided in the description box below. Let's start our today's discussion. Now, in continuation with our discussion on daily questions on Mains 2018 asked in the UPSC Mains examination, let's discuss this particular question asked in GS paper 1. The question asked was, mention core strategies for the transformation of aspirational districts in India and also explain the nature of convergence, collaboration as well as competition for its success. And we were supposed to answer this particular question in 250 words and it carried 15 marks. Now this particular topic forms a part of GS paper 1 specifically under developmental issues as well as social empowerment. So in this discussion we shall try to understand what was being asked by UPSC through this particular question, why was this question being asked, or whether this particular issue was in news in the last 6 to 8 months, and what could be the probable answer structure with respect to this particular question, or in other words, what are the suggestible points which you can include in your answer writing. Now this particular question is with respect to this aspirational district program. Now this particular program of Niti Aayog aims to improve the socio-economic conditions of different districts across the country, and also it aims to give them a delta ranking based on certain key performance indicators. So in this aspect, let us understand first of all about this aspirational district program of Niti Aayog and also analyze these three words which becomes important and was also asked in the question, that is convergence, collaboration as well as competition. As you can see, this particular fact has been taken directly from the report of Niti Aayog where it talks about aspirational districts program, and you can also see the three important words, that is convergence, collaboration and competition as mentioned in this particular report. It mentions that this program aims to expeditiously improve the socio-economic status of 117 districts across 28 states. The three core principles of aspirational district program are convergence, collaboration as well as competition. And this was exactly what was being asked by UPSC examination in your GS paper 1. Now this convergence is with respect to central and state government schemes, whereas collaboration is among citizens and functionaries or officials of state and central governments, including district level officers. And finally, it aims to improve competition among districts by providing a delta ranking. So we understand that these are the core principles which govern this aspirational districts program of Niti Aayog. This program focuses on 5 main themes, that is health and nutrition, education, agriculture and water resources, financial inclusion, skill development and basic infrastructure. And you can see that all of these have been provided certain weightage with respect to ranking. So for the purpose of ranking, health and nutrition has been provided 30% weightage, education 30%, agriculture and water resources 20%, financial inclusion 5%, skill development 5% and basic infrastructure 10%. So this is how delta ranking will be done on the basis of these performance indicators which have been allocated to these 5 main themes. Now these 5 themes have been included by Niti Aayog because they have direct bearing on the quality of life as well as economic productivity of citizens. So in this aspect, these 5 themes becomes important to understand with respect to this aspirational district program. Further, this report mentions about the core strategy of the program. So the core strategy of this program is that it wants to make these states as the main drivers of socio-economic growth, work on the strength of each district, make development as a mass movement in these districts, identify low-hanging fruits and strength of each district to act as a catalyst for development, measure progress and rank districts to spur a sense of competition, and districts, and in this aspect districts shall aspire to become states best to nations best. So the whole strategy is with respect to increasing the socio-economic growth of these districts by instilling a sense of competition in not only district officials but also among the citizens of the district. So how these convergence will be done? It says that this aspirational district program is a product of collective effort in which states are the main drivers, which we have already seen. So at the level of Government of India, this program will be anchored by the Niti Aayog. Important point to note with respect to convergence is that for each district, a central Prabhari officer of the rank of additional secretary or joint secretary will be nominated. And in this aspect, an empowered committee under the convenership of CEO of Niti Aayog has been notified to ensure convergence in schemes and also address specific issues brought out by these Prabhari officers. So convergence is aimed through these central Prabhari officers as well as empowered committee under the Niti Aayog to ensure convergence and also to address these specific issues. And in this aspect, even the states have been requested to form a committee under Chief Secretary of the state to implement these programs so as to improve the purpose of convergence with respect to state and central government schemes. So after understanding this entire concept of aspirational district program, we have also covered this particular program in our previous DNS videos. As you can see, this particular topic of aspirational district program was covered in DNS video dated 7 July 2018, in which the news appeared government deploys 800 IAS officers for village outreach, where we discussed not only the core strategy with respect to convergence of central and state scheme, collaboration of central state Prabhari officers and district collectors, and also competition among districts driven by mass movement, and also to measure progress and rank districts, where we also mentioned those 5 main themes or core areas specifically with respect to health, nutrition, agriculture and water resources, financial inclusion, education, skill development and basic infrastructure. Again, this topic appeared on 16th April 2018, and we also covered this particular article on the same date named Reimagining Governance, where again the importance of aspirational district program was discussed. In this, we also discussed in detail with respect to selection of districts on those key parameters. Now, as you can see, this topic of aspirational district program, Niti Aayog, was also covered in the July edition of Focus magazine, where we also mentioned that through this program, districts will be ranked on their incremental progress through Delta ranking. So in this, we discussed the core principles of the program, that is convergence of central and state schemes, collaboration among citizens and central and state government officials including district teams, as well as to spur competition among districts. And we said that the initiative focuses on the strengths of each district and prioritizes the attainable outcomes for immediate improvement. We also discussed the 5 main themes as already discussed before, and we also mentioned the weight allotted with respect to those Delta rankings. Further, we also discussed in details about these key parameters on each themes. And finally, we also mentioned about certain key benefits of these district aspirational program, where we said that these districts can utilize this data to improve their performance in each identified core themes, that is those 5 important areas. This ranking of districts will help the central government in identifying key challenges for various districts in terms of implementation of central government schemes, and this will further help the government in identifying weak districts for better targeting of government schemes for its citizens. And all these efforts will not only help in improving the quality of life of citizens, but will also help in promoting the concept of competitive governance among districts on quantifiable parameters. So these were the key benefits which we mentioned in the Focus magazine. Now in the main test series of 2018 in the FLT, that is full length test, we had asked this particular question with respect to transformation of aspirational districts program. The question was, how does this program of Niti Aayog aims to expeditiously improve the socio-economic status of districts across the country? What can be the possible benefits of this particular aspirational district program? Since this topic was important with respect to competitive development among districts, and also because of the recent report of Niti Aayog, we had included this particular topic not only in Focus and DNS videos but also in the FLT. So lastly, let us discuss what could have been a possible answer structure, or what points could you have included in your answer with this particular question asked by UPSC. The question was, mention core strategies for the transformation of aspirational districts in India and explain the nature of convergence, collaboration and competition for its success. So in this, you could have mentioned about aspirational district program of Niti Aayog, aim of this particular program with respect to principles of convergence, collaboration and competition, the purpose of this program, that is with respect to improving the socio-economic indicators of districts and also to spur competition among districts. You could have mentioned about this delta ranking, which could have further quantified the development of districts based on certain key parameters or based on certain 5 important themes as already mentioned. Then you could have mentioned about the measures to provide convergence of central and state government schemes by mentioning the role of Prabhari officers, where an empowered committee under the convenorship of CEO of Niti Aayog has been notified to ensure convergence in these central and state government schemes, where you could have also mentioned that states have been asked to form a committee under the Chief Secretary of States to ensure convergence of central and state government schemes. You could have also mentioned about measures undertaken to improve collaboration among citizens and government officials at district level. And the aim of all these strategies was to spur competition among districts on certain quantifiable parameters. So these were some of the points which you could have included in your answer structure with respect to core strategies for transformation of aspirational districts in India on the points of convergence, collaboration and competition. As you've already seen that these 3 words have been taken directly from this report of Niti Aayog. So with this discussion, let's move on to a daily news analysis. The next article appears on page number 8. The article reads, Universities and Patents. The ambitious goal set by India's Intellectual Property Right Policy 2016 rests on how universities embrace patents. Now this article on patents, this forms a part of science and technology under issues related to intellectual property rights. The article highlights that since the introduction of this national IPR policy in 2016, there has been an increase of 32% in number of patents granted as compared to early years. So we see an increase in number of patents granted. However, the filing rate for patents has not changed, and in fact, it has seen a dip of 3.2% as compared to previous financial year. So we are seeing the fact that there has been an increase in number of patents being granted. However, the filing rate for these patents has decreased. So in this aspect, this particular article highlights that the success of ambitious goal set by this IPR policy of 2016 will ultimately rest on the fact that how these universities embrace patents. Further, the article also mentions about the mutual benefits which the university has along with patents, as more number of patents registered from a particular university helps in improving rankings of universities, establishing an ecosystem for innovation, incubating a knowledge-based startup, measure research activities conducted in the university, and also to earn additional income. The following factors are taken into account for the purpose of ranking of institutes. They are number of patents applied for in any university, number of patents granted by any university, and number of patents which were commercialized. So all these factors, that is number of patents applied for, number of patents granted and number of patents commercialized, are factored in the National Institutional Ranking Framework, that is in NIRF. Further, NAC, that is National Assessment and Accreditation Council, awards up to 24 points to an institute which either sets up innovation ecosystem or provides facility to not only identify but also promote intellectual property rights within the system. So we understand that more number of patents registered from a university actually helps in improving rankings of universities and also helps in establishing an ecosystem for innovation and also in incubating knowledge-based startup. Thus, it is in this endeavor the University Grant Commission has asked all universities in India to set up intellectual property centers. However, due to lack of enough IP professionals, we may soon face a resource crunch with respect to setting up these intellectual property centers. Now, with the rise in innovation in the field of science and technology, which requires patent, and also with respect to rising international trade agreements, there is a need for specialization in the field of intellectual property rights, specifically with respect to patents. Now, the Government of India conduct these patent examinations to choose these IP professionals. Any Indian citizen having a bachelor's degree in science and technology can take this particular patent examination. Now, on clearing the examination, a person is entitled to practice before the patent office as a registered patent. Qualifying the exam allows the science graduates to draft, file as well as procure the patents from patent office or on behalf of the inventors. Thus, to fulfill India's IPR policy of 2016 goals, there is a need to enhance capacity with respect to IP professionals. Now, this can be done by inducting more IP professionals who would then teach the courses of intellectual property rights, specifically patents, in engineering colleges. More emphasis should be laid on the need for having more patent agents. And in this aspect, courses must be structured so as to facilitate the students in clearing the patent agent examination. Further, there must be a push towards post-qualification continuous education of these patent agents. And also the fact that these patent agent examination needs to be conducted on a more regular and uniform basis, as it will not only help in increasing the number of IP professionals but will also provide a new career choice for graduates having degree in science and technology. So we understand that this article on universities and patents becomes useful for us to understand specifically with respect to achieving the goals of National IPR policy of 2016. With this, let's move on to the next news. The next news is about Statue of Unity and appears on page number 2. It says that India celebrates the inauguration of Statue of Unity of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, which is also the world's tallest statue, measuring 182 meters. The Statue of Unity has been built on the Sardar Sarovar Dam on the bed of Narmada River. As you can see that this is the world's tallest statue, measuring 182 meters. The other tallest statues of the world are the statue of Spring Temple Buddha in China, measuring 153 meters, Laikyun Setkyar in Myanmar, measuring 116 meters, the statue of Ushiko Daibutsu in Japan, measuring 110 meters, Statue of Liberty, measuring 97 meters, the Great Buddha statue in Thailand, measuring 91 meters, and the Motherland Calls in Russia, which measures 87 meters. So we understand that this is the world's tallest statue built by the Government of India. Now this statue has been divided into 5 zones. First zone consists of 3 levels, including an exhibit floor, a mezzanine floor and a roof, and it will also contain memorial garden as well as a large museum. And these pictures have been taken from the Times of India. The second zone extends up to the statue's thighs. The third zone goes up to the viewing gallery, which can hold 200 visitors at once. And through these viewing galleries, one can also view the Sardar Sarovar Dam. The fourth zone is the maintenance area, whereas the fifth zone comprises the head and shoulders of the statue. And this zone, that is the last zone, is not accessible to visitors. As you can see in this picture, which is again taken from the Times of India, it says that the statue is located on Sadhu Bed, 3.5 km downstream from Sardar Sarovar Dam on the bed of river Narmada. And here a bridge connects the island to the mainland. The statue rises out of a star-shaped geometrical base that covers the entire Sadhu hill, and the structure has 2 vertical cores, each housing a high-speed passenger elevator. Some of the major attractions at this Statue of Unity are Museum on Sardar Patel's life, Bharat Bhavan Exhibition Hall, 3D projection mapping. Tourists can climb up to an altitude of 153 meters inside the statue. It also has tent city with 250 tents, tribal museum handicraft market, value of flowers, and also respective states to have their own guest houses. So in this aspect, it becomes important to understand about Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, as he played a major role in the Indian freedom movement. And his role can also be seen in the Satyagraha of Khera as well as Bardoli. And he also played a pivotal role in unifying the princely states of India with the Indian Republic. So in this aspect, let's go through a question asked by UPSC on Khera Satyagraha. Now this question was asked in the UPSC prelims examination of 2011. The question was, what was the reason for Mahatma Gandhi to organize a satyagraha on behalf of peasants of Khera? First, the administration did not suspend the land revenue collection in spite of a drought. Yes, this statement is correct. Second, the administration proposed to introduce permanent settlement in Gujarat. No, this statement is incorrect. So here A is our correct answer. And in this aspect, it's important to know that Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel played a major role in the Khera Satyagraha. Hence, this particular news on Statue of Unity becomes extremely important from our exam perspective. With this, let's move on to the next news. The next news appears on page number 7. The news reads, India among nations that face grave danger to soil biodiversity. Country's high population makes it vulnerable to ecological crisis, as said by WWF. So as per a report of WWF, India's soil biodiversity is in grave danger. And this is as per the report of Global Soil Biodiversity Atlas prepared by WWF, that is Worldwide Fund for Nature. Now in your prelims examination, this topic gets covered under general issues on environmental ecology, biodiversity as well as climate change. And your mains paper, it forms a part of GS paper 3 under conservation, environmental pollution and degradation. As you can see in this risk index map shown by different colors, and red indicates very high level of risk index. It says that the map is shaded as per the risk index, which indicates threats from loss of above ground diversity, pollution, nutrient overloading, overgrazing, intensive agriculture, fire, soil erosion, desertification as well as climate change. And it says that 90% of the world's seabirds may have bits of plastic in their stomachs because of pollution. Further, 20% of the Amazon rainforest has disappeared in the last 50 years. Now this again is a very significant threat with respect to conservation of our environment. Now, the global temperature has risen 170 times and there has been a 60% decline in the numbers of fish, birds, mammals as well as reptiles from 1970 to 2014. So in this aspect, we see certain impact of climate change on our flora as well as fauna. In this respect, it's important to understand the concept of biodiversity in soil. Soil biodiversity encompasses the presence of microorganism, microfauna as well as macrofauna. Now microfauna includes nematodes and tardigrades. Pressure exerted on the planet has led to 60% decline in wildlife population and 87% decline in wetlands since 1970. Further, the report also lists threats from habitat loss and degradation, overexploitation, climate change, pollution and even invasive species. And these findings are a part of biannual Living Planet Report 2018 released by WWF. And this report highlights two key drivers of biodiversity loss, which was because of overexploitation of natural resources as well as agriculture, as per the WWF report in its biannual Living Planet Report 2018. Now to address these challenges, the WWF has suggested three necessary steps. Second, to develop a set of measurable and relevant indicators of progress. And third, to agree on a suite of actions in order to achieve the goal of biodiversity recovery in the required time frame. So these are the three necessary steps which has been suggested by WWF for biodiversity recovery. In this aspect, let us also learn certain basic facts with respect to WWF. So WWF, that is Worldwide Fund for Nature, is an international non-governmental organization and it was founded in the year 1961. And they work in the field of wilderness preservation and reduction of human impact on the environment. Earlier, it was named as World Wildlife Fund, which remains its official name in Canada as well as in the United States. And the Living Planet report is published every 2 years by WWF since 1998. And this report is based on a Living Planet Index and ecological footprint calculation. So these basic facts with respect to WWF and Living Planet report becomes extremely crucial from our prelims perspective. So this particular article, which mentions about the risk index specifically with respect to India's soil biodiversity, becomes extremely important to understand from our examination point of view, as questions can be asked with respect to this particular report. And in your prelims examination, questions can also be asked on WWF. Hence, this topic becomes extremely crucial. With this, let's move on to the next news. The next news appears on page number 15. The news reads, Liquidity Economy Figure in FSDC Meet. Now this news has appeared in the context of 19th meeting of the Financial Stability and Development Council. The meeting reviewed the current global as well as domestic economic situation of the country and also discussed about the financial sector performance. Further, the FSDC also discussed about the real interest rate as well as the current liquidity situation in the economy. And in this aspect, the Council decided that the regulators and the government must keep a close watch on the developing situation and take all necessary measures. Now, this topic of FSDC in your prelims examination forms a part of economy, whereas in your mains it forms a part of GS paper 3 under issues relating to Indian economy. Now, a question has been asked by UPSC on FSDC in the prelims examination. So, in this aspect, let us also learn certain basic facts with respect to FSDC, that is Financial Stability and Development Council. The FSDC was constituted in the year 2010. The council is chaired by Union Finance Minister and its other member includes chiefs of RBI, SEBI, IRDA and PFRDA, ministers of state responsible for Department of Economic Affairs, secretary of Department of Electronics and Information Technology, revenue secretary, finance secretary or secretary to Department of Economic Affairs, secretary to Department of Financial Services, secretary to Minister of Corporate Affairs, chief economic advisor as well as chairperson of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. So the FSDC acts as a coordinating agency between different financial sector regulators such as RBI, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority as well as Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority. Further, FSDC deals with issues relating to financial stability, financial sector development, inter-regulatory coordination. It also aims at improving financial literacy, financial inclusion, as well as macro-prudential supervision of the economy, including the functioning of large financial conglomerates. So in this respect, let us go through this particular question asked by UPSC in the prelims of 2016. The question was, with reference to Financial Stability and Development Council, consider the following statements. First, it is an organ of Niti Aayog. No, this is incorrect. Second, it is headed by Union Finance Minister. Yes, this is correct as we have already seen. Third, it monitors macro-prudential supervision of the economy. Yes, this is also correct as macro-prudential and supervision of the economy is also one of the aim of FSDC. So, second and third statement is correct. So, in this the correct answer was C. So we understand that this particular meeting of FSDC on a review of the Indian economy becomes extremely crucial from a prelims perspective. With this, let's move on to the next news. The next news appears on page number 15. The news reads, How Centre's board game fueled a feud with Reserve Bank of India. Abrupt ending of Nachiket Moore's tenure added to the tension. Now this news is with respect to the growing rift between the RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, and the Government of India. So in this aspect, let us understand the issues involved in this particular case between RBI and the government. In your prelims paper, this forms a part of Indian economy and your mains, it forms a part of GS paper 3 under issues relating to Indian economy. The first issue is with respect to regulation of public sector banks. The RBI governor has highlighted that it faces certain statutory limitation, that is limitation based by laws, from taking actions against public sector banks such as replacement of management and board as well as license revocation. However, no such limitations are placed on RBI to take action against private sector banks. So in this aspect, RBI has been demanding greater regulatory autonomy with respect to public sector banks. So this is one of the main issue with respect to discord between RBI and the government. That is, the RBI is asking for greater autonomy over the public sector banks with respect to issues such as replacement of management and board and also license revocation. Another issue is with respect to prompt corrective action framework of the RBI. And this prompt corrective action framework pertains to the rising NPAs in banks, that is non-performing assets. It says that in order to clean up the NPA mess, the RBI has placed 11 public sector banks under the PCA framework, that is Prompt Corrective Action Framework. And this PCA framework places restrictions on lending, expanding branch network as well as dividend distribution. So it is in this aspect that the government wants some of these restrictions to be eased so that these public sector banks can kickstart lending and support growth. So in this aspect, the government of India wants the RBI to reduce some of these restrictions which has been placed on public sector bank with respect to lending, expanding branch networks, as well as dividend distribution. Another reason of discord between the government and RBI is with respect to reserves which the RBI keeps. It says that the RBI believes that it should have adequate reserves to bear any losses that arises from central bank operations. However, the government is of a different view and has been demanding for transfer of higher dividends from the RBI in order to reduce its fiscal deficit. So effectively, the government is demanding that the RBI transfer its surplus reserves to the government so that the government can reduce its fiscal deficit. And in this aspect, the government is of the view that RBI should part with most of its profit as dividend. However, the RBI has opposed this idea and says that the government is undermining its independence. Now, this is a strong statement given by RBI where it says that the government is undermining its independence by asking for a greater share of surplus, and especially at a time when there is a need to make RBI's balance sheet more stronger. So with respect to higher reserves with RBI, the government is demanding that the RBI should transfer these higher reserves to the government, whereas the RBI has opposed this idea and has said that the government by doing so is undermining its independence. Another issue is with respect to creation of independent payment regulator. The government in this aspect wants to create an independent payment regulator, whereas RBI is opposing the move. The RBI said that the Payments Regulatory Board must remain under its purview and should be headed by the RBI governor, whereas the interministerial panel of the government had recommended for the creation of a separate payment regulator to regulate payments industry in India. So again, with respect to creation of independent payment regulator, both the government and RBI are not seeing eye to eye. So these are the issues on which the rift between RBI and the government is increasing. It's important to understand this article with respect to the functioning of RBI, its autonomy, as well as the role of RBI as a monetary regulator of India. Thus, this topic becomes extremely important to understand with respect to functioning of RBI as well as its autonomy. With this, let's move on to the next news. The next article appears on page number 9. It reads, Define Strategic Partners. The Indian and US conceptions are different. This needs to be addressed. Now, this particular article focuses on the fact that India and US differ on what constitutes as being strategic in their relationship. And it is in this aspect that we shall try and understand this word strategic partnership between two nations. Now, this topic forms a part of GS paper 2 under international relations. So the issue is, what is so strategic in a relationship between two nations? With respect to India, as of now, India does not define strategic relationship. The usage of strategic relationship in international diplomacy signifies a bilateral relation more important than others. However, it stops short of an actual alliance. The term strategic further implies a future convergence of interest in vital areas such as security, defense, and investment. However, this particular term is now being used in a loose sense, with India having strategic relationship with over 50 countries ranging from United States to even Rwanda. So this article effectively highlights that where do India and US differs specifically with respect to their strategic relationship. It says that India expects technology transfers as well as intelligence sharing in defense cooperation. However, the US still considers India as an importer of defense equipment and not co-developer of defense equipment. So on these lines, India and US do not share same ideals. So in this aspect, there is a difference with respect to understanding of the word strategic relationship from Indian perspective as well as from a US perspective. Further, US expects operational cooperation with India such as through LEMOA, that is Logistic Exchange Memorandum of Agreement. However, cooperation under this foundational defense agreement is yet to move forward on ground. Further, both these countries are yet to have a common understanding with respect to rise of China as well as with respect to terrorism emanating from the soil of Pakistan. Thus, India-US relationship is largely a transactional relationship under the Donald Trump administration, which focuses on achieving a set of objectives. but may not be considered as a priority that a strategic relationship entails. So on these lines, India and US do not seek eye to eye with respect to strategic relationship, as their view differs with respect to technology transfer, intelligence sharing, with respect to moving forward with LEMOA, that is Logistic Exchange Memorandum of Agreement, and both these countries view differently with respect to rise of China as well as with respect to terrorism emanating from the soils of Pakistan. So in this aspect, both these countries do not share similar vision with respect to their strategic relationship. Thus, in this particular article, it was important to understand about this strategic partnership, whose usage in international diplomacy signifies a bilateral relation more important than others, but stops short of an actual alliance. And strategic relationship implies a future convergence of interest in vital areas such as that of security, defense, as well as investment. Hence, in this aspect, the article becomes extremely important. With this, we come to an end to discussion of today's newspaper. Let's move on to the question for the day.